Welcome to the Daily Dish with Leanne Ely. This is a show about you, your life, and the vibrancy you want. Join us for daily motivation, wise women's tips, and more as we collectively gather together and move the needle in our lives, heart, mind, body, and soul. Now, here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
The Daily Dish. I'm glad you're here. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Deborah. It's our last Saturday together. Can you believe it? Anyway, if you weren't here for yesterday's Q&A, I just made an announcement that we are going to be shutting down Saturday shows and going Monday through Friday. And the reason, there's so many reasons for it, but first of all, let's just acknowledge that we're on our way out. Here, I guess my head's getting cut off there. We're on our way out with this pandemic. Hallelujah. And secondarily, we've got a lot of stuff going on and I need the bandwidth. That's all. You understand all of that. And I love you and I'm always here for you. And you know that. That doesn't mean that I'm going away. That just means that I'm going to be squirreling in just a little bit. So anyway, we got Martha and June in the house. So lovely to have you here. I see, who else do I see here? I saw Kathy. Well, I don't know if Jenny's here, but Jenny is probably not here. But Amber's here, so is Lindsay. And we also have Margaret, Marguerite, Joanne, Diane, Trisha. Alice is here. There's our girl, Carol. So good to have you all here. Do you know what we do on Saturdays? And we'll have to figure out another day to do this, but you're all right with that, right? We changed the quote of the week. This is a good one, y'all. Check it out. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves. I just love that. There's a shift. There is an energetic shift. Do you feel it? I do. Hey, Allison, Butterfly, look at you. All of those lovelies are in the house. Glad to have you here. And just definitely, I'm really excited about our topic. Well, this topic this week has been really, for me, has been really good. I enjoy these different things. I learn from them too. But I also, it's also has set us up for next week, which I'm really excited about. So make a note to join us next week for all of that, because it's such an amazing, it's going to be an amazing week. When I share this thing with you, it's going to make your head pop off your shoulders, because it's just, this was a big deal for me. I'm just teasing you. All right. Organic ACV, that is our supplement of the week. Take advantage of this. We talked about how it affects gallstones yesterday in the Q&A. We talked about how it helps with digestion. It is something that you should really consider getting, because tomorrow is the last day for our specials of the week. And you know, we mean business, because you'll see, go on Monday and go, well, where did it go? It's a different dealio. So check it out at savingdinner.com/show. Plus, on that link, you're going to find, first of all, it's just an easy thing. You just hit the link. You don't have to worry about putting any number in your cart. You just do it. And it's a done deal. That's it. And we'll send you automatically that fourth one. Hey there, Carla. I see Carol and Darla. Yay. Oh, thank you, Marguerite. My hair's kind of a little bit of a mess, but we'll go with it. I was showing my sad sweatshirt. This sweatshirt I once upon a time loved, and I accidentally sprayed mildew stuff that we have for the boat instead of, well, you know what I meant to do was I just meant to spot it. I didn't mean to destroy it, but I did. Anyway, so there you go. What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do? What else do I have to tell you about? So, no, just go check out the organic ACV, because I really do, especially if you can't drink it. It's one of the best things that you can put. It's a prebiotic, for heaven's sake. It's going to help balance out your gut. It's everything. So check that out. Now, March 3rd and 4th, game on, gals. Literally game on. Casino Royale. Now, I know most of you have been to our galas, the Bonanza. We've done all kinds of stuff. These are events. And we have 2 shows a day, in the morning and in the evening, at 1 o'clock, like normal, Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. We do the evening ones on Crowdcast so we can dance and play music and do all kinds of crazy stuff, which Facebook would never let us do. But Crowdcast will, and we have the best time. So it's a Thursday and a Friday, I believe, March 3rd and 4th. Check it out. Go to savemedinner.com/casino. And we've simplified and made the process of signing up so much easier. So there's not like all these buttons and what have you. It's just a single one-step process. It's fantastic. I do need a romp. I had a romper room mirror at one point, and I just finally got rid of it. It was just like, do I really need another prop? The answer's no. So we got rid of that. Anyway, so that's happening. Also, we're in the midst, we have more days left. It's a 10-day program, by the way. I'm talking about Get Strong, Be Strong. And we've been doing this since Monday. And I know a lot of you have been really enjoying this. I think that's so fantastic. You can check it out. The program is 100% free. savingdinner.com/strong to go get it now. That's how you get it. All right. What else is there anything else? Oh, text messaging. Who saw the dancing chili yesterday? I mean, come on. Was that not fun? Or Thursday. Was that not fun? Plus, there was a little code to get you a little something extra. I mean, we do so many fun things. All you have to do to get on our text message list is pull up your text application on your phone. Then, where you would normally put someone's friend, a name of a friend, you're going to put a phone number. This is it. 855-960-3720. Then in the message part, put the word join and make sure you do it all in capitals. When you do it all in capital letters, then you're going to get a message back from us asking Y or N if you want to be a part of this. And you're going to reply, yes, of course, that's what the Y is. There you are. And then you're in. It's a double opt-in process. So make sure you don't skip the second step or you'll never get in. I don't want you to miss out. Thank you, Carol. You're so sweet. All right. So we've got this. You know about the organic ACB. You know about things coming up. Let's talk about right now what we've got going on today with the ending message on resilience. Because I think resilience, as I was thinking about this and the big picture of resilience, it really is a spiritual quality because how closely linked are faith and resilience. We get tried with our faith, don't we? Everybody knows we get tried with our faith. But I look at this from the perspective of resilience helps us to live our life. It helps us to say, I have grit and not quit. But it also gets us to the place of understanding that it is our core. It is a set of skills. It is a set of beliefs, and it's everything. It's the foundational principle with which our lives are built on, the resilience that we have or don't have, quite honestly. And yes, that infects us all the way through, and it's woven through our lives in everything that we do. Everything. There's a great quote that I have for you, and I hope I can say this guy's last name. His name is Dinos Christianopoulos. Okay, it's a lot of it's a lot of letters. It's a lot of writing. But he said this: they tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. That's what resilience is. And we're going to talk about this as we go through, because I have 4 huge things that are needle movers for developing your own resilience in your life. And when we understand that we are seeds and that we're not being developed, that is the growth factor right there. And it changes our mind and creates different opportunity simply because we're looking at it completely differently, right? So I believe in all of my hearts that when we are in tough circumstances, as planting time, seeds, we take a 180-degree turn from the usual rationalizations, excuses, and complaints. That's the hope. That's where we want to be. Because if we can do that, then we can start to pivot and go toward the vibrancy that we want in our lives instead of shrinking back and saying, it's just not for me. That is a complete untruth. This doesn't mean that you process everything immediately. This doesn't mean that you get over things. This doesn't mean any of that. What it means, though, is that you see things from a different perspective, and you're not just Pollyannas. You're not just a bunch of, oh, isn't everything just great? Susie cream cheese. No, thank you. Not at all. It means, however, that we understand in our lives there will be tough times. That's just the name of the game. Nobody gets out of this life without the toughness. Nobody. So, this isn't about immediate change, by the way, right? But I will say this. It helps us to gather courage and put these things into perspective when we can switch and focus on the very thing that it is that we want instead of the thing that we're experiencing. Does that make sense? So I'm here to learn about this as well, because what happens is we're in the midst of an experience. It's all we can think about. It's all we can look at. And we're just starting to cycle into that downward spiral. And my perspective is this, and I've seen this and I've done this a couple of times, and I'll share this as we go on a little bit later, give you a really good example of it, that when I could radically accept at one point, and also not just accept, but also accept the possibility of change as well, those two conflicting things, it built resiliency. Spiritually, it built me up. It gave me a new perspective. It gave me eyes to see things a little bit differently, and it completely changed the way that I decided to do life. Like I said, I'll give you that. Robin Sharma said this, and this is one of the quotes that helped to really reinforce this for me. You might have heard me say this once or twice, but what you focus on grows, what you think about expands, and what you dwell upon becomes your destiny. And I would say, and that is the house that resilience built. That's what I would say. That's what I would add to Robin Sharma's quote. Because resilience, my friends, is a skill. Nobody's just built with a spine that's made of steel. It's learned, it's chosen, it's decided for, and it's created in your life with the fodder from your own life. Am I going to be resilient to this, or am I going to let it mow me down? What's this about? And that's not to say you can't fall apart. It's to say, though, that in your life, broad picture, big picture, this is the path that I'm choosing for myself. It's also a quality that requires development and a little time. Have you noticed that? Especially if you've never learned how to be resilient, or if you never saw it modeled in your home or by an adult. This is for some people, this is like brand new news. I can do this. Absolutely, you can. Everyone can. It's not for some and not for others. That's not how it works. It is a skill that is developed. It is somewhat of a quality as well, but it's also a skill set. It's sort of like when you see a wonderful craftsman, like a cabinet maker or something like that, that is both skill and art. That's how resilience is. It's both something that's a quality, and it's also something that's a skill gets better over time. We get better at doing it. Well, but psychologists, this is where I think it gets really interesting, says there's a 4-factor approach for developing resilience. And luckily, they're all super simple and super effective. And I'm going to give them to you right now. And the first one is that you need to state the facts. One of the things that we have a tendency to do, especially if we're retelling a story or something that's going on or something, whatever, is that we have this tendency to, have this emotional hyperbolic moment of telling and retelling the story over and over again, and how we felt and what it was about. And usually it's a very long, protracted thing. And the more you tell it, the more worked up you get with it, the more emotional capital you've invested in the story. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you don't have the right. I understand that we all have the right to these emotions and what have you. But there comes a time where that story is all that's going to be is a story. It's not going to get beyond. It's not going to get to the place of resiliency. It's not going to get you to the place of where it is that you want to go, because all of your emotional capital is invested in the story. All of the, all of everything is put into the story. So we need to unplug from this emotional hyperbolic machinery that a lot of us are invested in. I grew up in a home like this. Lots of hyperbole, lots of emotion, lots of focus on the wrong stuff, lots of hand-wringing worry, lots of this, that, and catastrophizing and all of that. And you understand, if you grew up in a home like this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this idea, this notion of just going into the facts without all of the stuff attached to it, what a concept, right? What a concept. But that's when we do that, though, we give ourselves the space that we need to develop new perspectives, to develop better attachments to the things that we want instead of the things that we don't want. Because usually what's going on with the story is a lot of stuff that we just plain and simple don't want. And we're illustrating a point that how life, how things are just always piling up, and I'm so unlucky, and look at all this garbage that's happening, etc. You know exactly what I'm talking about if you have a tendency to go there on this whole thing. So if we just state the facts, for example, I was in a dressing room and the pants didn't fit. Instead of, oh my gosh, I went into the dressing room, couldn't get the bathing suit. That's a good one. Couldn't get the bathing suit on, and the lights and the mirrors and crying, blah, 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 blah. All right, got it. I was in a dressing room trying on bathing suits. I was not having a good time. Those are the facts. Stay out of the hyperbole lane and go to the next thing. Number 2 is put the blame where it belongs. Well, if we start to go into the place, we're going to use this dressing room scenario with the bathing suits, okay? Let's use that as our example. We're going to go into the place of blaming. Well, it's my husband. It's his fault. He's always bringing home. He's always calling the pizza guy. He's always doing this and he's always doing that. You should see the crap that's in my pantry, And if we can back away from that and then just make a massive contrast to it and say, okay, so 2 things. There's 2 different ways of looking at this. And I love this. This is from Cara Lowenthal, who she's a brilliant she's the one who does the thought ladders. I've shared that with you before. But she says that when we start to blame shift, we have to be looking at what our thinking is all about, because what we're doing is giving power, basically giving our power away and saying that it's this person that did it, when in fact, nobody has walked into our house, held a gun to our heads and said, if you don't go into the pantry and start eating all those potato chips and those Oreos, I'm going to blow your head off. No one's done that. Nor has anyone said, if you eat all of this stuff, I'm going to give you $1 million. So we don't have the impetus for doing these crazy things. Isn't there? It's just we like to blame somebody other than ourselves because it's easier. I'm not going to, and let me just say this too. The fact that it's there does make things difficult, but not impossible. The fact that you have to open a pantry and see this stuff is, for some people, especially food addicts like me, makes it a lot harder. But there are still solutions afoot. Develop your own pantry or have a junk food pantry that's just for the family. Put it somewhere else that you're not going to see. That's out of your peripheral. But there's always a way to do this. So when we take ownership and responsibility and whatever else needs to be owned into this particular situation, then we can find ourselves in the place of calming down just a little bit, right? Because now, instead of this whole hyperbolic reaction followed with blame shifting and putting it on everybody else, or the other one is beating ourselves up and just say, oh, I just can't, and I'm just worthless. And, everybody else is so much smarter than I can. I can't do it. I don't have the willpower. I don't have the this. I can't. I'm overwhelmed, the whole story. But what is that except a complete waste of time? It's unproductive as all get out. Nobody likes being beat up or hearing about it or whatever, but it's all your energy, all of your time, everything going toward that instead of just owning it and moving on. So you see how easy this, well, not easy, but but it is, there's just such black and whiteness to this whole thing. And it just helps us to separate and contrast out what it is that we need to do in order to build up our own resilience and have that steely spine that we all need to have. That's what gets us through. Number 3 is a reframe. This is how we create a healthier perspective and find our grit over the quit. So important. So I'm going to tell you, okay, here's an example I'll give you. I hate spinning. I have a Peloton bike. I paid a fortune for that stupid thing. I paid for the app every month. I hate it. I hate the bike. But you know what I love? How I feel when I get off of it. So that's my perspective. That's the whole change. That's my reframe. Not how much I hate it, but instead I love how I feel when I get off of it. Makes a difference. That's the easy way. The hard way is beating myself up. The hard way is to get into that whole thing and to keep dissecting it and keep staying on that. If I stay on I hate it, I won't get on it. And it won't work for me except make me feel guilty about having this expensive spin bike sitting there in my little gym. So if we can change our perspective just a tiny, tiny bit and reframe it to work for us, we build resiliency along the way. I love that. I love that. It's a simple thing to do and it's easy to do. I can do it with sticky notes. I can do it with 3x5 cards. I can do it with reminders on my phone, and so can you. We can all do this. Changing our mind is just something that we get to do, and it builds resilience. But you know what the number 4 thing is that's so important about this whole thing? Is taking your time with this and allowing for the process. Because honestly, this is your alignment assignment. This is how we get into alignment with where it is that we want to go. And this helps us. It helps us to sort things out, sort out our thoughts. Which ones do we keep? Which ones do we get rid of? It helps us to process it. Okay, so I'm having a hard time with this, and I'm still having a hard time. I know I'm going to stay with this, but I'm still having a hard time. Do I need to go see a counselor? What do I need to do here? We start asking, what are the pieces that we can put into place so that we can process this and help move the ball down the field? Excuse me, because that's honestly what it's all about. If we can't move things through and along, then we get stuck. And stuck has never helped anyone. So this is super helpful for doing this, is having this taking our time with this and allowing for the process, because this also allows us to see perhaps another perspective. Maybe there's a way I can reframe this back to, point number 3. Maybe by just looking at things a little bit differently, I'm going to heal. Maybe this is going to help me to accept what the heck is going on, because that is a part of resilience as well. It truly is. And I will say too that healing always creates more resilience. As a matter of fact, your body will very much show you exactly that this is the truth. If you have a bone break, for example, your body rushes a bunch of calcium to the site where the bone break was. And they call it a callus, and it's all full of calcium, and it's all there on the site, and it stays for a minute just like this, right? And it's actually stronger than any other place in your body because it's building back. That's what it does. That's what this little callus does. It builds the bone back, but creates even greater strength. I like to think that that's how our experiences are when we understand that we can get in alignment with this idea of resilience, and that we can be these kind of women. There is a term, it's a Japanese term called arugula mama. That sounds like arugula is a mother. My arugula mama, whatever, arugula mama. But you know what this is? This is a term for the desire to change and unconditional acceptance at the same time, because that's what makes you resilient. Okay. And this is exactly where I was in that dressing room at Lane Bryant 20 years ago with Marla when she and I went shopping, when I finally accepted my size, but still had the strong desire for change. But I accepted who I was at that time, stopped trying to stuff myself into clothes that no longer fit, and bought clothes that not only were pretty, but I brought bra sets that matched everything about. I spent a lot of money. I think I shared the most money I've ever spent on clothes in my life. But I walked out of there feeling like a new woman, and with a new bra on too, because the sales gal says, let's bring the girls up. It'll make you feel better. And boy, was she right. But this is exactly what it is. So when I stood there in that dressing room with the girls back up where they needed to be, wearing that, and then bought the matching panties, and then bought all the pants in all the colors and the shirts and everything else that fit, those bags that were full of all the hundreds of dollars that I spent on clothes that day, walking out of there, I'll never forget that feeling as long as I live. That was arugula mama, because I accepted myself with every ounce of my being. It made me the most resilient, strongest mind I've ever had at that point. And I put my eye on the prize. What do I want? I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. And I went on to drop the weight and to get it off, to start to feel better, watch my blood tests turn around, get rid of the plantar fasciitis. Everything started to happen in that moment. Because when we have this strong desire for change, but we also have unconditional acceptance going at the same time, that's where the resilience starts to become a reality. And you start to build it like no one's business. Makes all the difference in the world. So radical acceptance, change at the same time. Who's ready for that? Who's ready for it? And who's ready to see resilience in a new light? Not as just having superpowered strength, but as having the ability and the tenacity to hang in there with yourself so that you can get to the other side and develop a real strength in yourself. You ready to do that with me? Anyone? Got a pinky that you want to share? I hope so. I really appreciate you joining me today, by the way, and thank you so much for all the Saturdays that we've hung out together. And, I will say I'm going to miss you on Saturdays, but I'm also extraordinarily excited about what's in the future. Saving Dinner has a lot of new stuff going on, a lot of shifts happening, and it's exciting. It's really exciting to be building right now. We are building quite a bit right now. So don't forget to hang out with us over, especially on TikTok, if you haven't done it yet. If you go to TikTok, we are at Saving Dinner, and you can like all the posts by doing one of these. This is given the love, bum, 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 bum. Not just one little bop, but all of the boppies on all of the videos. You'll get us into the feed, and that is something we would love to see you help us with. I appreciate it. Meanwhile, you're not going to want to miss next week. Next week, we are going into the weeds on a new concept of easy versus hard, and you're not going to believe what I have to tell you about that. It's super cool. Peace be with you. Thanks for joining me. See you Monday.
Thanks for watching. Check back for new episodes. If you missed the live show, you can always watch the replay. You can find Saving Dinner on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Until next time, pinkies up.